This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Drive out with a car!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
And the English Professor.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to another Can Crushers. These motherfuckers are talking about snakes before we go on the air. That's how I'm starting it this week, guys.
Not Jake the Snake.
No, Chad found a snake somewhere out in the woods, and he's showing me pictures, and then John tells me a story about a snake in his yard or something. I don't care. Hi, I'm Mark.
And kids missing.
Yeah.
Kids missing in his neighborhood.
God, I don't need to talk about snake. My wife's going to get beat up tonight, you guys. This is not funny. This is a shoot. If she would hear me, she'd come down and yell at both of you guys. I hate snakes that much. I hate snakes that much.
Well, I'm sorry to Kelly. I think it making you squirm like a little bitch is funny, but
all podcasts, I'm going to be on edge now. I'm Mark Martinez. That's John Padalano that's speaking over me, and that's Chad the Piranha, the Guru. You sons of bitches. Welcome to Can Crushers.
I was such a mark for Jake the Snake Roberts in 7th grade that I did a science project about snakes. Aced it. Did really well. That's how much I loved Jake Roberts back in the day.
Did you name its food like it's mice? Did you name it Mark Martinez, like Little Mark or Marky Mark?
See, I can talk about this because, and I have something else to bitch about too about snakes. This is completely not where we were going today. It's just Ask Can Crushers 3, but apparently we have to talk about snakes first. It's going to take away from wrestling, but it's okay. I love Jake the Snake Roberts. As a kid, the whole snake thing didn't bother me. It's something I've grown into. I don't know. I'm just a scared old fat man. I don't know what you want to call him. My cousin's ex-boyfriend now has bought his 4-year-old daughter that he's had with my cousin's boa constrictor for a present. That's a shitty present. There's a fruit fly in the studio. That's a shitty present. Now, he's posting it on there because he's posted it on the Facebooks. And, of course, you know, I want to see what he posts about Aubrey because I love Aubrey. I do. It's cool. But now he's posting pictures of snakes, so I need to unfriend him. If you post a picture of a snake, I either hide you for 30 days or unfriend you. Well, this is now his snake. So
that's easy enough to get rid of you then.
Yeah, if you don't like me, post the snake and I'll probably unfriend you.
Mark's really worked up about this. I stopped listening a little bit at Boughton. I can't believe you said as Boughton. Have I reached you in the 30-plus years I've known you? Have I taught you anything?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Hey, how about we do some wrestling this week?
Yeah, that's a good idea, Chad. There was some good stuff this week.
No snakes.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
there's snakes.
There is a snake.
Let's talk about something that wasn't good first. Extreme Rules.
Oh, God.
The best match of the night was probably KO against Murphy on the pre-show. Otherwise, I don't know why I stayed up to watch this because the end is just putrid.
The end.
And I lie.
Sasha and Asuka.
I was gonna say I lie. I like both girls.
Great match.
Yeah.
The booking at the end was stupid, but the match itself was really good.
There was a couple of matches that were pretty good, and the ending just
ruined the whole pay-per-view.
The Sasha one, you're like, what the fuck? Seriously? But it was something I guess should have figured. The Cesaro Nakamura New Day match was better than expected.
I didn't like that.
The green fancy pants guy and Dolph Ziggler, that was exactly what the hell we expected.
Yeah.
To me, the best thing on the show was Sister Abigail, a.k.a. Alexa Bliss. Holy shit. That's all I got to say. Wow.
I'll let you go here in a minute. I agree, John. I think the women, I love the Nikki Cross-Bayley match. I did. I like that Sasha got involved to help Bayley get the win with the boss brass knucks. I like that. And don't get me wrong, before the ending of the Sasha-Asuka match, I would have said that this could have been in contention for a match of the year.
100%.
Once you get the green mist in the ref's face, I'm still okay with it. Anything after that, and I love Sasha and Bayley, it's going to tarnish even if Sasha wins this Monday night. I didn't like that. Have her be screwed over, have her win by screwing over, have something, and have this same match again Monday night, and I'm okay with that. This is to get us pissed off, and it worked. We'll talk about the main event by itself, because it was just garbage.
The end of that match was so dumb. All the things you just mentioned, Mark, would have made sense. Asuka is kind of like an Undertaker. You can't hurt her. You can't bury her. There's something about her. She can go out and lose matches and still shine. She could have lost cleanly to Sasha. Could have been the roll of dimes that we just saw, or the brass knuckles, or something. Cheat to win. I don't care. But that ending was just so dumb. Like, so what happened? Did she, obviously didn't watch Raw, but what happened? She just Sasha put on Bayley put on a referee's jacket and counts 3. And I mean, we've seen stuff like that before, but then it was immediately negated, like Jimmy Hart putting on the referee's jacket to help Hulk Hogan and the Barber win. But God, what a dumb ending to exactly what you said, a candidate for match of the year. There's so many ways this could have gone. Asuka could have been successful, and that creates a greater rift between Bayley and Sasha. This was just dumb. Who's booking this shit?
Where was the other referees?
Where
COVID, my ass. I watched a match this week. Midnight Express laying and eating against Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, and this was a match in Philadelphia where the Midnight Express.
That's a hard one to find.
It's actually, they've got quite a couple of versions of it on YouTube. I've got it on a Cornet DVD, but it was the one where Tully and Arn were on their way out, and they put the titles on the Midnight. Well, the end of it was double pin. Referee was fucking hurt. Tommy Young was the original referee at a house show. Tommy Young was the original referee.
In North Carolina then.
No, it was Philadelphia.
Oh, you said that.
And Tommy Young got hit, hurt, or whatever, and then the guys did their moves, and then the other referees counting, and you don't know who the fuck wins, and Tommy Young raises the Midnight Express's hand. It had a second referee. The referee came in, that made sense. This would have made sense, even if the referee came in and disqualified him, or disqualified her, or Oscar, or whatever. I mean, what was that guy doing? He was doing an audition there, or a picture shoot, waiting for her to throw the green shit in his eyes.
He was. I don't know if she had. I wasn't going to bring that up. I don't know if she had an issue with spitting that night, but it took a minute.
Yeah.
Chad. That's Chad.
Go. Just go. Go. Okay.
One other thing, Mark. You know how I feel. I don't love Vince McMahon, and I've kind of made that clear. But you guys sound off on him pretty regularly. I don't want to take that away from you. But, Mark, you had an issue with the one pay-per-view with Vince sanitizing his hands. You felt that was just a dick move, and you're probably right. Bully Ray talked about where was the mist back in December in that tag team match. We need the mist. The mist is always cool. It's always cool. Probably not a good idea right now to be spitting in people's faces. And I think this was just another subtle dick move. Like, oh, you wanted the mist, huh? Well, now you got it.
I didn't even think of it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just struck me as in poor taste, the mist in this situation.
Did you see I can't remember what the teams were playing baseball, yesterday where one guy got hit and he got to first base and first baseman walked over to him, pulled out of his pocket some hand sanitizer and squirted it on the guy's hand, and they both, even the umpire was dying laughing. I don't know. That was funny.
I was watching the Tigers blow it in the first two the Tigers. All right, listen, let's step off base.
Here we go.
The Tigers are going to lose 100 games this year in 60-game season. They're horrible. All right, that's enough.
Mets are going undefeated.
Yeah. Let's talk about what we really hated in Extreme Rules so we can get done with this shit-ass pay-per-view. And we are not rating this. First up, I want to bring the eye for an eye matchup. This was stupid. This was absolutely unbearable. The cutaway to Seth throwing up, and then you see, I don't know, Jolly Rancher, or I don't know what is wrong with Ray's eyes, because all of a sudden they didn't look like an eyeball at all. And just so you know, they announced a match later that he'll be able to keep his eyes. The
optic nerve was not
I was going to
severed.
say cornea, but that's actually part of the eye. The optic nerve was not cut. Good to know.
Well, I'm glad those ringside physicians, who are hired on a day-by-day basis, I'm glad that they were able to make that, that I was really able to sleep better that night knowing that his optic nerve wasn't severed.
I was in King Lear years ago. I was brilliant. And there's a scene where...
I didn't judge that, so we don't know.
No, yeah, you didn't see that one. We gouge out somebody's eyes in the play, and it was more believable. Like, we grossed people out. It was more believable than... this was so dumb. It was so dumb.
So Ray's coming back.
It was terrible. And Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio are way too talented for this level of garbage.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette said it the best about his review of this match. He said, no matter what they did, short of popping somebody's eyeball out, they could not deliver with this match. And he said they could have had the greatest match ever. Fuck Randy Orton and Edge. But they could have had the greatest match ever. They could not deliver on this stipulation.
No, I agree.
There's no way to
100%.
deliver on it.
And now the worst. This is the worst anything. Guys, everybody jumped right on Twitter after this. The cinematic matches are now being buried. We love the Boneyard match. And it's something that everybody will always say, man, that was awesome. That was amazing. Ta-da-da-da-da. But it's getting driven into cinematic matches now. That the Money in the Bank sucked. I don't know how many more sucked. But this is going to be hard to top in sucking. Because this was...
Yeah.
I was lost from second number 2. That was it. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know why Braun was hitting himself with a shovel. There was a snake again, fucking son of a bitch. These guys came out of nowhere that a gardener, a baker, a candlestick maker.
Adam was there?
Adam was there. As much as Alexa was there, as, Sister Abigail... I don't know. The only thing I got out of this, and get ready because everybody might turn this off right now, is why was Bray Wyatt singing Taylor Swift songs? And nobody caught on to this. He says...
I wish I had an answer for you.
He says, look what you made me do. That's a Taylor Swift song.
Yeah.
All the Alexa Bliss thing was the highlight of this match to me. And a close second, fucking fruit fly.
I know it's going to piss us off.
A close second was Braun getting bit by a snake. Right in the arm, Mark. Do you know how painful that would be?
Savage got bit by a snake as well.
Yeah.
He sold that a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
And there was an alligator.
Boy.
Get us out of this
you
mess.
texted me, Mark. Yeah, you texted me like, why doesn't he just? First of all, how much of the match when they got through the few shenanigans was this monologue where Braun Strowman is chained to a chair and Bray Wyatt's just going on and on and on, and I don't know what the hell he's trying to say. And then you texted me like, this guy like flips over semis and ambulances and holds back trucks with his legs. He can't just stand up. Mark, I swear to you, not a minute later, my son said to me, why doesn't he just stand up and smash a chair against the wall or something? It just was so stupid. Like, drug the guy or something if you're going to go that route. Then I don't even know what happened. I don't know. We tune in for matches, and there was no winner or loser here. I don't know what happened. This was the dumbest thing.
So, spoiler, Braun was not on Smackdown this week, which, good, because he's dead. Yeah, apparently the Fiend drowned him, right? Unless Swampfoot, that we don't know who Swampfoot is going to save him.
I think him and Abigail are making little swamp things in the burnout house.
Unbelievable. I don't know. Let's move on to something that we like, and then let's get to Ask Can Crushers, because that's what we're here for today. I say briefly over AEW. It was a great show, but we have a ton of questions we need to get on to, so no more than 10 minutes on this, guys. No more than 10 minutes. We can wrap up AEW quick.
Go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
Cody.
I'm so excited about
Cody and Kingston. We saw this has been one of the ones that are was talked about coming in and facing Cody. The other one is the War Horse, which is coming up this week. Great match. Eddie Kingston, great on mic, and man, I would like to see him really sign with AEW on a longer basis. This was a good show all around to be in this.
Even Griff Garrison.
Yeah, there just wasn't anything bad on this show. I was happy to see that little bastard Sammy Guevara come back.
Thank you. I told you.
I was glad to see him come back.
My shoulder's right here. My shoulder's right here.
Yeah, there's a snake right by it. I was glad to see him come back. To me, the moment of the night, and just because I'm a fan and I see where the turn is coming, is when FTR came down and busted that cooler full of beer and shit over which one? I forget what the hell guy it was.
Omega.
No, it wasn't Omega. Omega came down later. Page was going.
One of them.
And then they fought off the Elite, and then Omega comes down like he was, Mr. Big Shit. I'm telling you, FTR, Page, and there's going to be one more. It's going to be a group. It's going to be somebody that they're going to bring in. Whether do they go Brian Cage route? Do they go Lance Archer?
Not with who they got.
With a Lance Archer would be a good one in, but it just, again, it showed why AEW had the ratings that they did. They beat NXT by like 210,000.
And that's
views.
Actually a beating.
Yeah, that's an
20,000 or 50,000. Yeah.
And they won all of the demographics, so it wasn't like they just got all the little teeny boppers in training bras and shit like that watching them. They won across all the demographics.
I'll go quick, John, and I know you want to talk about a lot of this too. Cody in the ring with Arn to start, and Eddie Kingston comes out, and he's one of the best talkers in the business, if not the best talker right now. I believe everything that comes out of his mouth. Everything. That he might be a multi-trillionaire, but he's a broke bastard right now. Just looking for a fight to get his way. Man, this guy, I love him. I love that it was a hardcore no DQ match. It fit into Eddie's thing. I was pulling for him the whole way. But his knee. Griff Garrison stole the show between him and MJF. Even not doing anything, just being Griff Garrison. I loved him. I honestly hope that we see him on AEW a lot, because I think he's got something to offer, and MJF did it for him. An update on Britt, man, she went through a lot. I feel bad for her. But my big of the night was Ricky Starks joining up with Taz and Cage. Man, John, I'll be the one that says it this time. I was talking to our interview already for next week in the hopper and everything, and you said NWA better get their shit. You didn't say it like this, but NWA better get their shit in gear. Now, we see that Starks is here to stay. Aligning with Cage. Kingston might be a one-off. I doubt it after what happened. Ricky Starks fits with these guys. I love it. I love that there's going to be a Women's Tag Team Cup tournament. They didn't say anything about the titles, just a Tag Team Cup tournament. And then the following match shows women. It is Diamante. Well, it's not the following match, but Diamante against Ivelisse, the other Ivelisse. We saw Diamante at WrestleCade, and we fell in love with her there, Chad.
Yeah.
She can do no wrong in our book, and Ivelisse isn't bad either.
No, Diamante, there's just something about her. She doesn't have to, show all the TNA like a lot of the women do and stuff like that. There's just something about her that the I want to say the it factor, definite great addition
Player
to the roster.
And then 5, which is now we know 5 is Alan Angels, taking on Hangman, and Chad touched on that about how the whole craziness happens at the end. The thing I got out of this is Brody Lee is still a sneaky snake in the grass. As I brought it up this time. He takes Colt away before they jump him. There's little pieces that just keeps us going each week on AEW. It's like, man, you guys might not like Colt, and I know you both like Colt, but I'm like, man, I really want to know, me personally, I'm like, I want to know if Colt really doesn't see this. It's just there. It's just little pieces that they're putting in there that makes it more believable than anything WWE is doing. So, again, a 5-star show by AEW. John, go ahead. You got 4.5 minutes.
All right. Chad, you mentioned ratings. NXT was a fine show. It really was. I can absolutely see why AEW, though, kicked its ass. They brought it. I was reminded, Mark, when we were in college and you had Briscoe and Patterson beating up the Mean Street Posse. They won with like a double submission. One had a figure 4, and Patterson had the Boston Crab. My oldest brother, Dom, who hadn't watched wrestling in years, jumped up out of his seat and got excited about a wrestling match. He said, I haven't been this excited in years because he remembered Briscoe and Patterson and seen their submission moves again. I had not been this excited in a long time. And when I saw Eddie Kingston come out, and I knew Mark was talking to the interview of the week, I had just been forgotten and started texting him. Holy shit, are you watching to see this? Like you said, that guy could deliver a promo. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm watching this, and I like Cody, and I like Art, and I'm like, yeah, you couldn't survive to my neighborhood. When I grew up in a working-class, blue-collar neighborhood, it's perfectly safe. But I get chilled into Eddie Kingston. Loved that match. Good work by both guys. I enjoyed Jericho and Hager against Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I knew at the end when whoever it was started to unmask that it was going to be Sammy Guevara. I said that to my son, and that is gutsy. In all seriousness, I hope that's put to rest. I hope he's well. I hope Sasha is able to move past that, and there's a level of forgiveness. But it's gutsy to bring him back this soon. If you're a wrestling fan, guys, this is the right thing to do. It's controversial. And then I like the Bucks versus Butcher and the Blade. I thought that was a great fight. It got hokey with them throwing stuff at each other, but good match. Great show. Really, really good show all around. And they kicked it off hot, and it never stopped. It was hot the whole way through.
Go ahead. Because I have a question for both of you.
I was just going to say the fun, John, I'm glad you brought it up, the Jericho match. I forgot about that. The funniest thing that I've seen on TV so far, I got to give to Chris Jericho, big surprise there, besides his commentating and everything, was at the end when Marco Stunt was trying to attack him and he was just bitch slapping him away. He's just like, get the fuck out of here. It's like he was slapping a fly away. It's like, get, and Stunt just, he slapped him like 5 or 6 times before Stunt got the thing of lay down and shut the hell up. Anyway, it was just hilarious. You got to go back. If you haven't seen it, you got to go back.
I did.
It's almost as funny as the dick tap from a couple of weeks ago.
I want to bring up, and I saved the Sammy G thing because I told you that he was coming back. What the hell was his name? Lucha, whatever. Came in the ring, fine and dandy. Serpentico. Serpentico was his name. Okay, but at the beginning of this match, it's the Jurassic Express against Hager and Jericho, and then all of a sudden JR says it's an Australian rules match. And Tony says, Australian rules! I lose my shit, because when did I watch this? Friday afternoon, or whatever. I'm like, you have to be fucking kidding me. This just comes up out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. And this is where we're not talking about wrestling right now. We're talking about our podcast, if you guys both haven't caught on. I'm like,
I figured it out.
What are you talking about? Australian rules match have never been brought up since that stupid-ass pay-per-view that John picked 2 weeks ago that we talked about. And
the
now...
one with the 42 matches on it?
Yeah. And now, JR and Tony are pulling punches on Australian rules. Listen, sons of bitches. We're being listened to week in and week out. We are. There's no way else that this Australian rules garbage makes it to AEW without... Who else brought up an Australian rules match in the last 10 years?
We broke the top 50, and I think they listen. And imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So thank you, Mr. Ross and Mr. Shivani.
Did you hear it?
Taking
I did. And all I could think of was them sons of bitches stealing our shit. Don't we have a copyright on something?
We don't have copyright on anything yet.
Shit.
No. But that's what I was like, what?
Do you know what an Australian rules is?
No.
Honestly.
We're still no clearer on this.
No.
We're still no clearer
what
on
the
what
Australian
rules are.
The Australian rules, that's what what used to call, when tag team wrestling first started, they wanted to give it a, something of its own, so to speak. And the Australian rules it's just a normal tag team match. You tag in, you tag out, person has to be on the apron, hold of a string, or whatever. That's where that originally came from.
Well, why then in 1983?
I don't know about that
did the
shit.
NWA and AWA make it sound like it was a specialty match that you saw a kangaroo as a referee.
Well, look at the guys that the AWA was pushing, especially the AWA was pushing. You had the kangaroos. You had what were the there was a brother tag team that they had.
Beverly Brothers.
No, from Australia, not the Beverly Brothers.
We like them.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know, but if that's what an original tag team match was, they called it Australian rules. They tried to say it originated in Australia, tagging in and out, guys on the side, just weird shit.
Nonetheless, none the fucking less. Let's talk about another country, because we're going to get ready to talk about Can Crushers, Ask Can Crushers 3, but we have to take care of our homeboy Al Snow and Collar and Elbow. Guys, you saw the picture I posted up on the old Facebooks, I don't know, within the last day. I really don't know. I post so much shit anymore, I don't know when it's even being scheduled, because it's easy that way. If there's breaking news, I get it in there, but otherwise, a lot of stuff is scheduled anymore. Collar and Elbow. They have great hats, hoodies, tees, and shorts.
Shorts now.
Yep, gym shorts.
Gym shorts.
I need to get a pair of those. So that hopefully will be on my next coming to daddy, because these shorts are getting a little stank. I need to get a nice pair of collar and elbow shorts. And yeah, that's what the way it is. But
is there any truth that Al Snow's birthday cake caused a 5-alarm fire?
It did, because there was 104 candles on it.
Holy shit.
It almost burnt down Davis Arena.
Damn.
Yeah. Unbelievable, isn't it? Try blowing out 104 candles. I mean, you're close. You have 84.
Especially at his age.
Right.
You know.
The lungs and everything.
Yeah.
So, all right. CollarandElbow.com. Great hats, hoodies, tees, and now shorts that you can buy. And when you check out, use the promo code CANCRUSHERS. All one word, capital C in can, capital C in Crushers, and you'll get a huge discount. And that's great. But nonetheless, when we come back, we will be talking about another country in Ask Can Crushers, and these two have no clue what we're talking about yet.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
This is the Spazmanian Devil, Andrew Palace here, and you are listening to Can Crushers. Let's have fun.
Welcome back to Can Crushers. It is I, the English professor from the Borough of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen. And Mark, do you know who used the Can Crushers promo code and saved 10%?
No.
You do not. I did.
Did you?
I did. I finally picked up some more T-shirts, and I've got a snapshot of them right here. I picked up the Black Friday one. It's like a charcoal colored shirt with collar on top and elbow underneath it. I picked up the Macho Man with the purple with the sunglasses.
That's my favorite one.
Macho Man.
That's my favorite
What's
one.
that?
That's my favorite one.
I love it. Yep, with Macho Man and Elizabeth, only it's Al Snow and Head. I thought that was hilarious. I love this one. Life is a Work. I think it's a great shirt. And then the first one I picked out, it was a few bucks more, but it goes to a great cause. I absolutely had to have it. Brooklyn's own Beast, Shad Gaspar. So I am really, really excited to get these. I got an update saying that they arrived. They did not. So that has me a little nervous. But hopefully they're out for delivery Monday, and I get them.
I have a question before we ask Can Crushers. Do you know what today signifies in Can Crusher history?
July. Today is in. Today are we?
Yeah,
today or shoot today? Saturday or Sunday?
All of them.
All of them. No, I don't.
Today is 1 year that the Guru has been on Can Crusher.
Oh, wow!
Congratulations. 1 year,
Thank
you
you.
bald son of a bitch.
The ratings have never been the same. I don't know if it's good or bad.
It's been amazing. I'm not going to
But
lie.
it's been-
Let's not pull. I don't pull punches. You know that. It's been tremendous to have you here.
This has been some of the most fun that I've had in a long time. So let me revisit
Stupidness.
everything across the board. Everything across the board. This is what makes us what we are. We're not cut and dried interviews, boring shit. You don't know what the hell you're gonna get. Except for
we don't know what the hell we're gonna get.
The only thing you know you are gonna get is
Alcohol.
an alcohol or a few alcohols. But you are going to get a challenge to that fat bastard Jock Sampson for a bull rope match. I still want you in an IWC ring. You freaking little Donkey Kong Jr. lookalike.
This has been the closest Chad has been to a microphone in a year, though, so he was serious. He actually, sometimes you hear Chad, sometimes he's like in the basement because we only put an echo down there for him. But today, Chad pretty much deep-throated the mic, calling out Jock Sampson.
You know, I've kind of been off air telling Chad, like, hey, this isn't a good idea. Jock Sampson's a professional wrestler, and maybe I'm selfish, but I took it personally. I answered the question, who should get a title shot at IWC? And I answered it. And I get a message saying, blow it out your ass, you piece of shit, or whatever. Like, dude, relax. I was asked a question, and I gave my opinion. Opinion, by the way, based on facts. When you look at who beat whom, who came out of the last IWC card on top. But anyway, Jock Sampson didn't like my answer.
Jock Sampson's
Andrew Palace, by the way.
Jock Sampson's a piece of shit. Justin Plummer put this stupid-ass poll on IWC, and then and we'll get to Ass Can Crushers, guys. Slow your roll. I instantly state the facts that you can see on the IWC network for $9.99. There's 4 people in this poll. Pollock, Collier, Jockstrap, and Palace. So I write right off the bat, these are just facts that you can see on the IWC network for $9.99. Pollock and Collier lost their match. They should be out, correct? I said Jock Sampson won his match with an army. This is true. Palace got his ass broken in half, beaten, his guts and glory or grit or whatever the hell I wrote, helped him win the match. I said, it's an easy decision, Plummer. I get written back from Jock Sampson, another asshole or another jock, whatever he writes back, with an opinion. I never stated an opinion during that whole thing. I said complete real facts.
Stated the facts.
From the IWC network. Nothing else.
You gotta realize Jock Sampson has been passed up a lot.
If you're defending him, you're on. No, this is your 1 year goodbye.
No, he's been passed up a lot. I mean, he can't read. Even Bulk Nasty passed him up because Bulk can read now, and Jock still can't read. Jock.
Too much time on Jock.
Jock couldn't win an ass-kicking contest if everybody was one-legged.
All right, let's get to Ass Can Crushers. So we're going right in, and we have 15 sent in from the fans, and both these guys have one to ask me and the other counterpart of each other. And I said we're going to a different country right off the bat, and you guys have no clue what I'm talking about. Well,
we usually don't.
Robbie from Illinois, and I love that they're at least putting their state. Next time, guys, some of them did, most of them didn't. Put where in Illinois, because Illinois is huge.
Now, you've said it twice. Okay, come on. John, is it Illinois or Illinois?
Well, it's a French word, so it's Illinois.
So, okay.
Also, Illinois is part of our country.
Right.
You said we're going to another country.
Because the question
is part of the United States.
The question is
with the question.
Okay. Go ahead, Mark.
Question from like Europe or something.
No. Well,
maybe on Australian rules.
We're getting there. No. Robbie from Illinois wants to know, who do you think was the best, worst, and your favorite European champion?
Okay. You want me to go first?
You can go first. You talked first, so go first.
Okay. All right. Best British Bulldog. He was the first, may have been the longest reign European champion. Brought believability to it. Worst. I hate to say this, man. God rest his soul. Owen Hart won it. It was a joke. He beat Hunter Dust for the belt, but Sarge said, well, hey, that counts because he was dressed as Hunter, and then lost it back a couple of weeks late. They just they did not do right by Owen after Brett left, so he's the worst. My favorite, I got to go back to who I think was the best also, the British Bulldog. Believability, he brought it to that belt.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with John. The best, the Bulldog. That was when they first brought it in, and kind of it had a little bit more oomph behind it, and it wasn't being jerked around. The worst, just because I don't ever think this guy was worth anything in the ring, was X-Pac. Just never cared for him in any way, shape, or form, anything he did except for when he left. And then the favorite, again, would have to be the Bulldog. I got to really piggyback John on that one.
The best, I agree with all of you guys. It was the Bulldog. But this title was made for him during that whole run and everything. It was great. The worst, Midian. Come on, Midian.
Oh, God. He had that belt?
Yeah, for a moment.
Yeah, okay.
And just to keep my sponsorship, my favorite was Al Snow. Yeah!
Yeah, that was my favorite too, actually.
But didn't Al Snow have a dog pin the guy, and that's how he won the match?
He was my favorite, Chad.
Okay.
Moving along. Richard from the United Kingdom. So we are staying across the pond.
Nice.
What is your Mount Rushmore of tag teams? This is crazy. I never thought of this. I never thought of this until I got it in.
Rock and Roll Express, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express of Eaton and Lane, the Road Warriors. I'd have to go with the Road Warriors, and God, it's
number 4 always sucks.
Number 4 is the hardest. I would probably have to say, shout out to Fantastics. I would have to go with the Fantastics.
John?
Who is this from the UK?
Richard.
What's his name? Richard. Richard, maybe you're not familiar with what's going on in the United States at this time, but Mount Rushmore is a touchy subject. So I'm going to change your question to top 4 teams, just out of sensitivity to everyone involved.
You're such a dick. All right, go ahead. This is why I love these shows, because you're such an asshole in it, and you don't even know it. Go ahead.
Oh, he knew
Mount Rushmore of tag teams. I'm going with Eaton and Lane, the Rock and Roll Express, the Hart Foundation, and Owen and the Bulldog.
Mine would be the Rock and Roll Express, Eaton and Lane, so we all have those guys. I was a huge, go back and listen, the British Bulldogs mean so much to me. It's unbelievable. The British Bulldogs of Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy. And then, number 4 is so tough. I want to throw in 2 teams. So I'm going to, because I'm the host. I loved Owen and Yoko as a team. I love those guys as a team. But I also want to stick with the old school. Arn and Telly are great as well. I really do. So 4, I get 5 because I'm Mark. And I win.
And you notice none of us said.
Nobody.
My favorite team of all time. Nobody said the Road Warriors.
Chad did. You didn't listen to him.
Did he? Oh, I missed that. Did you say the? Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, Chad.
Thanks.
I don't usually pay attention to what
You had to go with insult and Mount Rushmore National Monument, and you couldn't listen to me. Okay, great. Appreciate that.
And he's an American hero, so you're such a dick. Twice you shit on Chad during that question.
On my anniversary.
Yeah.
Fucker. Oh.
Wow. Triple whammy.
Wow. All right. This is from Chris from Huntsville, Alabama. If you were starting your own Wrestling Hall of Fame, who would be the first 5 wrestlers inducted?
You got this one. It's your turn to go first.
I don't go first ever.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
My rules.
Huntsville, Alabama. That's the home of beautiful Bobby Eaton, I think, right?
I think so, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, the Alabama Jam. That leg drop off the top rope.
You can't think of anything, so you're just rambling.
No, okay, no. First 5 I'm inducting into my Hall of Fame. Bruno Sammartino. Bret the Hitman Hart. Hulk Hogan. Ric Flair. Stone Cold.
Bruno, Hogan,
Flair,
Stone Cold.
Stone Cold.
You need one more. He said
for
5.
He said it, but I can't remember what he said. Bruno,
Brett.
No, I can't.
Brett. You said
Yeah,
Brett.
Bruno, Bret,
All
Hogan,
right.
Stone Cold.
All right, cut.
Dusty Rhodes, Hogan, unfortunately, Flair. I would have to go with Bruno because of his dominance. The 5th one. You know, I'm gonna throw a curveball here. I'm gonna put Jim Cornette in there as a manager.
Okay. I repeat a lot of you guys. Hogan, Flair, Dusty. That's 3. Macho. Because I think Savage, to myself, is what got me involved in interviews. I always throw him in my normal Mount Rushmore anyway.
Savage was our generation's Gorgeous George.
Yeah. And then my 5th. Huh, holy shit. I don't know. I'm lucky I remembered 5. And now, of course, I'm looking around the room thinking, because I don't prepare for these as well as you guys either. But I'm gonna elect a tag team and say the Rock and Roll Express, because nobody elected. He did a manager, so I'll do a tag team. So I'll say the Rock and Roll Express.
It's interesting. Nobody mentioned. I want to be sure nobody mentioned The Rock, right? Nobody mentioned The Rock.
No.
No, The Rock was pretty influential. I think.
We'll get there.
What hurt him maybe was being around Stone Cold in his era, and also I think the people we mentioned were wrestlers for the most part. Taking nothing away from The Rock, I think he's becoming more remembered as a movie star than his time in the ring.
Entertainment.
Yeah. And I want to say the guys that I'm thinking, you know, I'm not a Hulk Hogan fan, but he got the media attention from the Rocky movie and coming in. Flair could make anybody frickin' look good in the ring. Dusty, I still think of all time, Dusty is the best on the mic. I don't want to say it's not close, but I think Dusty's the best on the mic. Bruno, my God, if the WWF was branched out more than they were, imagine the domination Bruno would have had when he literally, the only reason he lost the WWF title in the first place was because he got bored and tired of traveling. And then Cornette, I just think, is the best mouthpiece and heel manager that there's ever been.
Do you know who the best?
Hulk Hogan brought.
Go ahead.
Hogan brought Hollywood to wrestling. Like, he brought it with him. A lot of other wrestlers left wrestling to go to Hollywood. Hulk went to Hollywood and brought it back to wrestling, which was a cool thing for him to do.
Do you know where the best dime piece exists? In IWC. Just saying. That nothing to do with anything. But all right, listen. This one is from Doug from Maryland. You guys always talk about who your new horseman would be. How about switching it up a little bit and do a current and pick the new DX? Well, the DX isn't current, Doug. Let's tell you that. Okay? You want us to pick a different faction.
A dick faction.
Maybe a DX, maybe a Nation of Domination that's possibly...
No, let's stick with his. Let's stick with
I
his
know,
DX.
but I'm saying, I know, but I know where he's going. Like somebody, you know, we always go horsemen. We're 80s, we love 80s, blah, 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 blah. But he just meant a different group. But he just put DX out there, so, all right. So let's throw a new DX out, and I'll put a twist on it that it's got to be, you know, somebody from, I know NWA's been quiet, but somebody from NWA, somebody AEW, NXT, and WWE. Like Raw and SmackDown.
Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, John.
I went first last time. All right, I'll go first. NWA. The outlandish guy, Zicky Dice.
All right.
Now I need somebody from where? NXT, AEW, and the main brand?
Yeah.
Is that correct? AEW, Sammy Guevara, now that he's back.
Damn it.
Controversial figure. NXT, and then the main brand. NXT, we're going to get to this in a little bit, but that triple threat match was so good. There's something about Johnny Gargano.
He's stolen
the
2 of
little
mine
bit of
already.
punk attitude he has. I'm going to throw him in there. And holy cow, I'm so out of touch with the main brand, but I am going to change it up a little bit and say Asuka. I'm going to throw a woman in there with all her bright colors and her outfit and her hair. And I think you make her a little more provocative, which I bet she could pull off. So that's my DX. What the hell did I say? I said Sammy Guevara, Asuka,
Zicky
Dice, and Johnny Gargano.
All right. Tag team. And I'm thinking Billy Gunn, Road Dogg way. Butcher and Blade. I think they've got a good act, a weird act going. John stole it. Woman wise, probably I'm gonna have to say the Lacey Evans.
Oh wow!
Just because very, very flashy type. If you got your singles guy and his buddy backup, I'd have to go NXT now. I'll throw Adam Cole in there, just because he can be a dick and he's good at it. And then the last guy, kind of the backup guy, NWA. Who was the guy that Tim Storm beat for the NWA title? His name slips my mind. Jack Stane. I'd put him in there because he's kind of like the muscle, kind of like the backup. He's got a voice, but he's there to let the other little bitches run their mouth and then protect them.
So Chad already stole my idea of going 5 because he just went 5 compared to your 4.
What the hell did I say 5?
Well, you said the Butcher and the Blade. You used a tag.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
which is
My bad.
it's okay. It's okay. But you've all stolen somebody out of my pocket. I went Sammy Guevara. I went Adam Cole. Oh, you did not steal anybody, John. Because
no, I did. I stole Sammy. I said.
He said.
Oh yeah. You said all right because I was about Gargano as well, but I thought Cole was better. Guevara AEW, NXT is Cole. The normal roster is Dolph Ziggler.
Nice.
And what am I missing?
NWA.
Oh, God. Oh, Eli Drake. He's the mouthpiece,
Excellent.
guys.
Excellent.
He's the mouthpiece of it. So there you go. That took a while.
Let me throw my question out.
All right, do your question now.
Okay, John and Mark.
Are you going to answer this as well?
Yes, I will answer this.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
John, you go first. I'm going to drink some more.
Of the era, when the world titles meant something, and I'm saying when more than one person was involved, who do you think would have made the best world champion that never got a world champion, never got a championship run? WWE
We have to name them all.
No, just one from WWE, one or two from WWE, and one or two from NWA.
I'd like to go first because I can answer it.
Go ahead.
Two people. Boom. I would have loved to seen Roddy Piper in the WWE, WWF, and sad to say, because we all know it was going to happen, Magnum TA. Those are my two. Easy. That's an easy question.
Go ahead, John.
All right. WWF, he was primed for it. He was primed for it in the AWA too, and never wanted it. Razor Ramon. That guy could have been a world champion anywhere, but he was content to kind of just hang around the mid card, I guess. An NWA or WCW world champion that never was, man.
Now NWA, not WCW.
Okay, just like NWA. All right. Well, I don't want to steal Magnum T. You know what? Tully Blanchard or Arn Anderson, either one of them. But I'll stick with Tully Blanchard. Those guys held everything else: television, United States, national tag team, but they never won the big one.
One that I'm going to go from WWF, I think, is the biggest one that could have held that title was Ricky Steamboat.
Nice.
Always thought that he should have had the title. In the NWA, I know he got a reign as the big gold WCW champion, but I would have loved to have seen him in the mid-'80s.
Goldberg.
Was Barry Windham.
Oh.
Goldberg. Would have always loved to see Barry Windham. And not to be rude, I didn't even know up until WrestleCade last year that Barry Windham held the WCW title.
That's right there.
That's how kind of insignificant his reign was. And this was, and the reason I brought this up is, like I said, not just one person making the decision. Like the NWA, you know, Barry, if he would have taken it from Flair around when Magnum got hurt or somewhere around in there, he could have been I think he would have been a hell of an NWA champion.
He's a hell of a wrestler.
And I think Ricky's...
Wasn't he? I know they brought it back, and it got so convoluted with WCW leaving NWA, then going back. The belt he held, the belt that he took off of Muta, was what they were calling the NWA Championship. They had brought it back. Then they split again and called it the International title, which is ridiculous. But when he beat Muta was when Flair just lost to Mr. Perfect, left WWF, went back to WCW, went to wrap the belt around his waist, and Wyndham pushed him away. And Flair was saying, that's the belt I never lost. Which kind of had a double meaning, because that's the belt he took with him to the WWF as a WCW title.
Right.
But it was actually like the old NWA belt. So Wyndham kind of had a run, but you're right. It really didn't mean... And it was sort of transitional, too, just to kind of get it back on Ric Flair. It didn't have the meaning it would have had even just a couple of years earlier.
Yeah, the title that Wyndham had is actually my favorite version of the big gold title. It was a non-affiliated title. It did not have NWA or WCW or then later WWE. It didn't have anything, and it was when they were going through the negotiations. Is NWA going to split from them? Blah, blah, blah. And that's when he had his reign. So it was kind of like, yeah, they were calling it NWA, but to me, the NWA title will always be the 10 pounds of gold. That's just me. That's just my...
I agree.
The big gold title to me was, okay, these guys are splitting and the territories are dying.
I'm going to hold that title one day, just to let you know.
Well, you held it when I brought it down here. That's the only way.
But for a long time.
Oh, okay.
For a long time, I'm going to hold that title. Soon. Easy question. I love this one. It was one of those ones where I know I'm going to keep it in. And this goes back to the day you guys have to go first because I love this question. What is your go-to food for pay-per-views or can crushers?
Whose question?
Oh, this is from Scott from Missouri. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Scott.
From Missouri. Go-to food for pay-per-views. Man, Mark hooks it up, listeners. It's a buffet at his house. He and Kelly cook some of it. He and Kelly order some of it. But things I've enjoyed at Mark's house are wings. And back in the day when my parents had the pizzeria in town, it was likely that my brothers and I would bring a couple of pizzas along. Pizza and wings. What the hell else are you going to eat at a pay-per-view?
I'll go with the wings. Definitely. Every time I've come down here, we've had an abundance of wings. And I got to go with that chicken...
Kelly's chicken dip?
Yeah, I got to go with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have two.
I go with chicken dip right now. Go ahead, sorry.
I love the pizza, don't get me wrong. I love the wings. But everybody's going to say that. I'm a big fan of two things that need to be at every pay-per-view. Twizzlers and salt and vinegar chips.
That's old school, Mark. Yeah, you're bringing back memories now.
Because the pizza and the wings are going to be there, but if I don't have the Twizzlers and the salt and vinegar chips, nothing else matters. I mean, the Twizzlers is always the appetizers. I rip them open. I don't share for the first 10, and then I let them go.
Maybe that's why Miggy ate like the 4.5 pounds of Twizzlers he ate today.
We have this is off of the cuff all of a sudden. We have at least 2 to 3 bags of Twizzlers in this house. Without, if you notice we're on one bag, somebody better go shopping. I'm sorry to anybody that has this. I'll probably die of diabetes because of Twizzlers. But it's unbelievable. And my dog, let's just say this real quick. Wednesday, we had some things that were going on. My dog ate his whole bag of treats. And then, before we could get home, ate the 10 to 15 Twizzlers that were left in the open bag. And Mickey was a happy son of a bitch. Nonetheless.
We used to bite the ends off of Twizzlers, Mark, and use them as straws to drink our soda. It's a wonder we're still kicking. Anyway.
It really is. But there you go. Salt and vinegar chips, you have to smell them before you eat them, too.
Oh, yeah.
You do. Absolutely.
All right. There's a big question coming, but I need to, I'll get this one first. Of current wrestlers today, all of you name 2 men, 2 women, a heel, a face, that Can Crushers would start their own company with. Richard from Georgia. So, John, you have to name 4 people, 2 faces, 2 heels, 1 of each sex, to start your company with.
Now, can we just go off of this one a little bit? If we pick a tag team, that counts as one?
It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Because it's 2 wrestlers still, you jackasses. A tag team is 2 men.
Yeah, but you could forfeit. I could pick a tag team and a singles guy.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Whatever. Excuse me, by the way.
Well, it's hard to know who the hell's a babyface these days. Like, we were talking about that women's program from a few weeks ago. I don't think any of them were babyfaces. You had like 8 women involved, all fighting each other. But if I had to, all right, a heel, I'm going to pick Sasha. I'm sorry, Bailey. I think she's better than Sasha Banks. I'm going to pick Bailey. She's great on the mic. By the way, that interview she did where she felt really bad because she was a big fan of Rey Mysterio and then started laughing at him. Terrific. She got me. Hook, line, and sinker. So I'm going with Bailey. Babyface, I don't know that there's a single babyface female anywhere in that company. Jeez Louise. If I had to pick a babyface guy, I know he's out right now, and you guys can laugh at me, Roman Reigns.
Of course.
That guy, no, that guy it has nothing to do with him being my son's favorite wrestler. That guy can sell a beating like nobody else.
He goes to car shows too.
He does.
I thought when you were going to say when you were going to say babyface guy that's out currently, you were going to say Charlotte Flair, but okay.
Good.
He's a heel guy, Dolph Ziggler. And is there? I'm serious. Is there a babyface woman right now on a main WWE roster?
Yep. It doesn't need to be WWE roster. It doesn't need to be WWE roster.
Oh, it could be anywhere?
He just said, pick.
Okay. I'll say Nikki Cross.
Chad?
I'm going to say babyface just because everybody's cheering for him in that right now. I got to say FTR. That's my babyface guy. My heel guy, good Lord. I got to go with Adam Cole. Even though everybody loves him, he's still a dick. Heel girl or female, you got to go with Bayley. I think she's the best one in the business right now. Good girl, good guy, face female. Tegan Knox. I'm going to go with her.
Heels are easy to pick for me. I agree with Chad, Adam Cole, and I disagree with all of you. I love Sasha's swagger. As much as we walked into my wedding to Bayley as a face, I think Sasha's a better heel. So those are my heels. Faces of the company, man. I can't get past Cody Rhodes. I think AEW. I know it could be coming. I know.
He's kind of been a dick. He's slapped around Marco's stunted growth.
Listen,
and everything.
I don't know. This question could have came in 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes. And my heel. I know NWA has been on the shelf. Damn it, I know NWA has been on the shelf. You don't know what Nick Aldis does for me. Nick Aldis is unbelievable. And, of course, that's setting up, I've just named a ton of guys and not enough girls. So I don't know where I'm going this. My face woman, Thunder Rosa. I don't care where she's at. Thunder Rosa just needs to be involved. Thunder Rosa's amazing. So, all right. This next one's going to take a while, and we're going to break it down a little bit. Everybody gets 2 picks, okay? It's going to be, John, you have to put a match together. Chad, me, Chad, you, Chad, me. All right? That's the way it's going to go.
Okay.
This one comes in. Get ready, because somebody's going to go nuts. This one comes in from Jackson Argos.
Oh, Jesus.
If you could book IWC stars against wrestling legends, he wants us to put a whole card together. We're going to put 6 matches together, all right? And, of course, I'm going to be the dick and say you can't double use anybody. So, IWC stars against wrestling legends. So that's abroad. You can have anybody. What card would we put together? A 6-card match.
6-match card?
6-match card?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yep. I'm on drink probably number 20, so we're good.
All right. We can go from any era of IWC too.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Damn. My 2 matches would be.
You get one at a time.
One at a time. Okay, good. Jackson Argos and RC Dupree against Owen Hart and the British Bulldog.
All off the table now. Okay.
Oh, you fucker. Wow. Jack Pollock against ECW's Tommy Dreamer.
Mine's going to be Andrew Palace against Kurt Angle. John?
Damn, that's good. That's really good, Mark. I like it. All right, I have another tag team. I would like to see the Fraternity. Maybe they're a little too similar. They're a little too cocky, but I'm going to say the Fraternity against Babyface Rougeaus.
Oh, wow.
Not the patronizing American flag wearing, but really they hate us because they're Canadian, managed by Jimmy Hart. I'm talking about when they first arrived. Super Babyface Rougeaus against Fraternity.
Okay. I'm going to go tag team for my second match. I'm going to go the main event against Harlem Heat.
I knew, once you said main event, I knew it was going to be Harlem Heat. Yeah, nice. I love that. I do love that.
That is pretty good.
I'm going to throw a twist, and I'm going to throw the women in there. And since we're throwing names back, yep, she's in AEW right now, but she's the star of IWC forever, Pittsburgh's own Britt Baker against Lita.
Excellent. Oh, wow.
That's a hell of a card.
That's nice. Yeah.
It's a great card. All right, John, you want to do your question right now?
Sure. See, Chad's question was more just question and answer. Mine's more of an essay question. So you look at, obviously, every week we come on here and we kind of trash WWE programming main roster. If you look at the era we loved, 80s, 90s, even the 70s, plenty of stupidity, plenty of garbage, but a lot of good stuff. And it seems for the most part, no matter what Vince did, he couldn't miss. You can look at Macho Man versus Ric Flair, and maybe WWF gave it to us first, and Elizabeth was involved. But when you watch that same feud in WCW, it wasn't quite the same. What was different back then versus now? Because I feel that the stars now, the athletes now, are better than ever. What is different between his booking then versus his booking now? Has he just kind of run his course? Go ahead, Chad.
I think it's honestly a combination of two things. One, he doesn't have the opposition that he had back then as far as wrestling, as far as the NWA. He didn't have anybody huge to go against. So he was more, to me, he was more, yeah, you had your stupid shit going on, but he had more of the wrestling in the matches and stuff like that, less of the bullshit. Now that he doesn't have, and I'm not knocking AEW, but they're not in WWE's league yet as far as star power and money, he just doesn't have the opposition that he had back then with the NWA. And I think the biggest thing now is honestly the lack of house show attendance across the board. Because they just, before you'd go to house shows and you'd have 5 to 6 matches, 3-hour card, go with some memories and stuff like that. Now he uses the house show just to see how angles are going to go over if they're bringing somebody new in. And I think he just doesn't put as much into, he looks at the pay-per-views. Here's all my money. My money's in the pay-per-views, 30, 40, 50,000 people versus, his 10,000, 5,000, 7,000 or whatever house shows.
I'll say mine is Vince McMahon grew up with us. When we were children, we had the Junkyard Dog, we had Hillbilly Jim, we had those guys that sucked us in and were like, yeah, when we were adolescents, we had the Attitude Era of tits and ass. We loved it then. That's great. And then, as we've grown up, he gave it to us for a little bit, but now all of a sudden Vince has hit, and off the top of my head, I have no idea how old he is, nor do I care. He is jumped over us. He is now 90, and this is how he thinks wrestling should be. Like, he has just completely lost touch. It's everything I just mentioned. You can have a character like Hillbilly Jim Junkyard Dog. You can have tits and ass from Stacy Keibler and Lita didn't do it as much, but you know where I'm going.
Yeah.
But you could sprinkle a lot of other stuff in. And we mentioned this over and over, John. When you were mentioning this question, I was like, I don't know where to go. But then I'm like, he grew up with us, but then he superseded us. Because he got the business when we were young. And, man, he got us. He grew up with us, feeding us everything we wanted. We do want more, but retro stuff is cool as well. And I don't know, and I'm going to reference right back to the eye for the eye. It could have been. Now, I really didn't want Rey Mysterio to go blind or, Seth Rollins to step on his eyeball or whatever. But it could have been so much better because the match itself was good until we got to where the eye was going to be removed. And he doesn't know what to do from that. He needs to push it. There's a line, and instead of just stepping over the line and making her go, oh, man! No, he needs to jump to fucking Ecuador to get it done. And it just doesn't make sense. There's no sense there. Yeah?
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right. In terms of controversy and storylines, how much is too far for each of you? And Zeke doesn't tell us where he's from. Zeke.
What's too far? I think wrestling works best when they sprinkle in reality. That's why the Attitude Era worked so well. That's why what kicked it off, Bret Hart and Vince McMahon, worked so well, is because they were having problems. They said, well, let's just put our problems on TV. What's too far? Man. I guess that's up to...
What would say you're done? We all say we're done, but you were done with WWE, but you watched the pay-per-view with me. Not in the same house, but you watched it. So you really weren't done with it.
Let me shoot in here, because I this one immediately came to mind. Not so much having family involved, but these real-world situations of, like when Reed Flair died, and I can't remember who the hell was it Sasha was in a feud with Charlotte, and that was mentioned. That was brought up. The one that pisses me off the most, and I said this would be my first move if I ever owned WWE, I'd fire fucking Michael Cole for this, for participating in it, was when Jerry Lawler's mother died, and 2 days later, they're using that on the air. I think situations like that go too far, go way too far. You know, if you're going to have something like, if you remember a couple of years back, God rest his soul, Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio's feud, and Eddie was saying about Dominic looked up at him as more of a father than he did Rey. Okay, that's kind of skirting the issues, but that's pretend. A death in the family, stuff like that. That's taking it too far.
I agree. John, I will quickly answer mine. I agree with Chad. Once you get deep into a family's business, that's too far for me. Quickly.
Well, I watched the pay-per-view because you made me. We had to cover it, but I didn't enjoy it. I just want to get that out of the way. What's too far? I mean, that's up to what individuals are willing to do. Like, Owen Hart loved his wife and would not do a program with Goldust, fondling him or whatever. Ric Flair would always go down the list of people he's beaten, right? And he was yelling at Vader, Dusty Rhodes, the Road Wars, on and on and on. And he goes, and Kerry Von Erich, who had just died, had just committed suicide. I don't think that's too far. It's in the context of what Ric Flair's saying. Here are all the opponents I've beaten. Who do you think you are, Vader? I don't know that you can go too far in pro wrestling. I know it's a cop-out, but maybe I'm just void of feelings or decency.
But do you think, John... I'm sorry, I just wanted to throw this with the way you're going. Do you think, though, that these wrestlers, the Charlotte Flair example, the Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler, they're getting paid. How much are these people willing to say, fuck you to Vince about? I mean, honestly, how much does that play in? I'll say personally, if I was in there and he said, yeah, we're going to do something about, your mother or your father, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Well, if you do, if you don't do it, then I'm going to put you in a lesbian angle with, Henry Godwin or something like that in the pig pen match or something. I just think something like that, it's one thing to bring family in, but it's one thing to bring in death of family members and stuff like that. Too much.
Yeah. I guess then, that kind of goes back to what I was saying. I would leave it up to an individual. I don't know that there's a lot that would get me to never tune in again. I mean, never's forever, so I don't know if there's anything that would get me to never tune in again.
This is a really local question for us. What wrestling merch do you guys like to collect? And it's from Maddie from Altoona. Maddie, if you're in the studio right now, you would see thousands of pictures signed on the wall. I have a couple belts. I'd like to get a shit ton more. I'm just a poor bastard, though. I want to start collecting wrestling bobbleheads, but if I don't get them all, I can't collect one. I like the Funkos, video games, stuff like. God damn it, anything. If it says Chad Perena Wrestling on it, I want it, more or less.
For me, my love of wrestling paraphernalia started with the WWF LJNs in 1985. I have everyone that I would like to have, at least one representation of the entire collection.
Plus.
What's that?
Plus some they didn't make.
But yeah, I had some, because they made Terry Funk, and I had somebody make me Hoss and Jimmy Jack. They are freaking awesome. Mark can attest to that. Custom-made figures. Got into the Hasbros. I have absolutely everybody I've ever won for the Hasbros, minus Evil Crush. I have Demolition Crush. I have Kona Crush. I don't have Mr. Fuji Crush. That I may never have that. That's just out of my price range. The Jacks, Attitude Era figures. I still have all those. And I really love the classic Jacks figures that started to come out like in the early 2000s. They had a pretty good run. They got a little hokey. I mean, they made real legends that deserved figures. And then they made
Shockmaster
Tugboat with this mask. Thank you, Shockmaster. Come on. I love that set. T-shirts, DVDs. I know there's a network. Mark. I still love my DVDs. I love to be able to pop them in. I love to show my DVDs to the wrestler when I meet the wrestler and get them autographed. That's a big thrill for me.
You still buy betas. So, all right, Chad, I know what you collect, but go ahead, tell Maddie.
this is easy. The two biggest things: DVDs. I love watching the older stuff. In belts, I've started collecting. I got 5 currently. My 5 favorite belts of all time. I got 2 on the way, to the point of where, and I haven't disclosed this. I hope my better half doesn't listen to this. But I have a set of NWA tag team titles coming from the original manufacturer.
These look amazing, by the way.
That are $1,200 for the set.
You know, I'm getting the Crush then. If you're doing that, I'm getting Evil Crush for like 150 or 175 or whatever he goes for.
Matty, I also want to say, this is not a knock. We put a wrestling podcast together, so that's a collection within itself. I don't mean it sentimental. I'm just saying, and I'm going to be a dick to both of you. The amount of money that's involved in this is a collection within itself. So continue to support us, Matty. We love you. Moving on. Luke from New Orleans. What do you consider the best wrestling rivalry ever?
Holy cow. I can only pick one. Go ahead, Chad.
I got to go with Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express. Either version of the Midnight Express. It was just interchangeable for, whatever reason when Dennis Condrey had to leave. But Rock and Roll Express and Midnight Express, from World Class, Mid-South, NWA, Smoky Mountain, WWE. I mean, it went over 5 different federations.
New Japan, ICW.
It just went everywhere.
Go ahead.
I am looking over at my unofficial Sergeant Slaughter LJN, even though he's really a Hasbro, and I'm going to say Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik. Just, and not to sound like a Mark and Barr term, it was white hot. Crowds were just electric. They were so hot. Sheik had so much heat. Slaughter, tearing some of the ceremony or some of the traditional garb that he wears, and the crowd reacting to that. The blood, and it all started. That's the thing. It all started, and I've mentioned this on the show before, with Sheik leaving the ring and Sarge on his way to the ring, and Sarge was still kind of a bad guy. The Grand Wizard had died maybe several months earlier, about a year earlier, and they just wouldn't get out of each other's way. There was some confusion about who was going to move, and it turned into a shoving contest, and as they say, the rest is history. That was a bloody war. It was timely because of what was going on at the time between the United States and Iran. Really, really hot feud.
The son of a bitch just showed me another snake from somebody that picked up one from I don't know where. Mine's going to be an easy cop-out. It really is. It's going to be the Horsemen against, the Rhodes Clan. And I say clan because at some point he had Magnum, he had the Rock and Roll Express, he had some other guys. That is what...
Dustin.
Yeah, Dustin. He just had that. That is timely. Because you get possible 8 matches out of that. It's a whole card within itself, and the 3 of us would be, oh man, did you see Arn against Dustin? Did you see that? The Road Warriors thrown in John's favorite tag team, whatever. You would just see everything, and I know it engulfs a ton of people. Horsemen against Dusty's people, and that's it.
All right, but that was a feud that just never. You could have so many.
It's not over yet.
Yeah, you could have so many things. Look at all, like you said. Look at all the wrestlers that were in there. The Barry Windhams. Like you said, the Rock and Roll Express, Magnum TA, Cornette and them was even pulled into that at one time. It was just something that there was interchangeable. You had the Prick Four Horsemen, and you had the, son of a plumber, Dusty Rhodes. Some of the best things that ever come out of wrestling.
Very quickly, I've often said the NWA at that time, Jim Crockett Promotions, reminded me of the show Dallas. The feuds felt like they could go on for generations. Honest to God, Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair feels like J.R. Ewing versus Cliff Barnes. Their dads probably hated each other. Their sons hate each other. It felt like it could go on for generations.
That might be a reference nobody gets.
You think of the, John just saying that we kind of knock wrestlers nowadays and have for a good many years when they don't have long title reigns. But how excited were you when Dusty Rhodes, at the end of the Great American Bash series, beat Ric Flair and he held the title for like 3 weeks before losing it back to him? Now it's like, okay, whatever. You're not invested in anything because they don't have the long programs and stuff. When Magnum got hurt and in his accident, him and Tully had just finished an 8-month program.
There you
go.
I was allowed to stay up to watch Dallas because was Dallas on a Thursday night or was Dynasty on Thursday night?
Friday.
It was on Friday. I was young. Just getting into football. I was a huge Tony Dorsett fan. He came from Pitt, which you guys all know I graduated from Pitt well before I graduated from Pitt. But I was allowed to stay up, probably because of other reasons as well. Once they panned over Dallas Stadium and you saw the Dallas, all right, you saw Dallas Cowboys go to bed. Not that I was ever a Dallas Cowboy fan, but I was allowed to see that sports reference. All right, get your ass to bed because sex and scandal's coming on.
Just to give you an idea, I was so little watching that show. My mom still tells anybody, I was 4 years old. She could hear me from her room. I was having a nightmare. And she came into my room and I was screaming. And when she tried to wake me up, she says, I sat up and yelled, "Who shot JR?"
Jesus.
4 years old. I probably should have been watching that shit.
No.
But that was our show. My mom and I used to watch that show together every week.
All right, guys, this one needs to be a quick one because we're getting along. Is it time for the women to get a cinematic match in WWE? And that's from Lacey from PA.
I'm going to say
no.
No. Yeah, I'll say no. Only because the women are doing such good work. I don't want to see them bogged down with something they may not be comfortable doing. I don't want to see Lacey Evans tie up Charlotte Flair and talk to her for half an hour.
Now, if Lacey Evans tied up Liv Morgan, but that's a different story.
So it's nose across the board. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm just going to say because the ladies have so much more to offer, and they're coming in to their own. They're showing they can hang with the guys, and I think it would be a step backwards.
We have
for
5
them.
more questions, and I have to piss really bad.
We'll take a break.
No, we have a break. No, this is Ask Can Crusher segment. What is the most overused move in wrestling today? And Jaden's pretty funny because he's from parts unknown.
Super kick. Enough already.
Canadian Destroyer.
Super kick. Done. I've seen way too many this week alone.
Hey, speaking of super kicking the balls, Detroit won tonight.
Holy fuck! So they're not going to lose 100.
6-4. So they're only going to go 1-99.
And there's only 60 games. What do you guys think is the dumbest move in wrestling history that makes no sense? Jonathan from Erie, Pennsylvania. We get a lot of PAs this time, by the way.
Dumbest move that makes no sense. Holy cow!
Mine's already here.
And I don't want to steal this from you because I think you may be thinking this. Outback Jack's 3 clothesline boomerang. Like, if one can knock him down, why can't 3? And just you hit him in the front, the back, and the front again. You're trying way too hard with the Australian gimmick.
I got to go with what Braun Strowman used to use, where he would get the guy in a semi-bear hug or whatever, but he was hugging him up around, just under his arms. It looked like he was trying to make out with him versus do anything else. I think that was the worst move, because it was just like, ooh, I'm going to toss a guy around and he's going to pass out. His arms are free and he could smack me in the head or knee me in the balls, but no, he's just going to hang here while I whip him around.
Clearly Jonathan listens to the show a lot because he knows how much John hates Outback Jack. I as well, but Outback Jack has made the wrestling, Can Crushers Wrestling Studio podcast a wall. Not a very great wall that he's on, but he's on the wall. Outback Jack was the worst. But I did get an autographed picture of him.
That's good.
John's impressed by it. There's two big questions, so I'm going to throw one out right now, and then save the last one for the very last question. Who had the bigger impact on wrestling? And Mary from Ohio gives us 4 people to pick from: Flair, Hogan, Stone Cold, or The Rock.
I'll go with Hulk Hogan. Taking nothing away from those other guys. Flair was in a territory. Boy, I don't mean to sound insulting there. Anybody knows who Ric Flair is these days. Back then, Hulk Hogan was way more popular. And I don't think you have Stone Cold or The Rock without the Hulkster.
I couldn't say it any better than John said it.
Well, then we're going to three-peat it because we really, all 3 of us, got invested in rock and wrestling, and that was all because of Hogan. And then we found Flair, and then Stone Cold and The Rock came because of them. Right?
Yep.
That's it.
Easy peasy, Mary. All right. Kirk from Louisville. Who do you got? Well, I'll read it. I put that all in myself. Who do you think were the top 5 enhancement talent in the WWF, WWE, NWA in the 80s? Enhancement talent. I can probably name 2 because I didn't take notes. And I have 7 concussions.
Enhancement talent. Okay.
Kirk.
So were these guys just got smacked around from bell to bell, or actually put up a little bit of a fight?
Do you want me to call Kirk right now? I don't know what he meant.
No, that's all right. Okay. Enhancement talent. I'm going to be a total homer.
Pissy.
I will go with Steve Lombardi. I guess he was actually a trainer. I'll go with another Brooklyn boy, the unpredictable Johnny Rodz, also a trainer. And was in there with everybody. That guy wrestled everybody. Special Delivery Jones always put up a good fight. Honorable mention, I got to pick 5, so I'm up to 3 now. The Italian Stallion in the NWA. And Rocky King from the NWA. That guy just used to get the crap kicked out of him. Took a beautiful beating. I'm serious. That's an art form.
Let me go.
So those are my 5.
Italian Stallion, agree. Rocky King, yes. I speak of the Lightning Foot like nobody else.
Yeah.
Barry Horowitz, the Can Crusher alum, John is retarded for not, and that's probably going to get me in trouble for saying it like that, but not mentioning Barry Horowitz, and I would agree with Lombardi.
Mike Sharp.
Nice.
From WWF. Got to go with SD Jones. I mean, he was an enhancement talent that went all the way to WrestleMania in the early years. Is there really, I mean, is this in question, the Malkies? Come on.
Touche.
And I'll just use them as one.
Of course.
Denny Brown.
Denny Brown's thrown out. He was the light heavyweight champion back then. Not
In the end. Okay, we'll throw him out because he ended up getting that. Mike Jackson.
Okay, not Michael.
Yes!
Not Michael Jackson, but
Not Michael Jackson, Mike Jackson. And, you were saying Lombardi, and I was thinking,
Rene Goulet.
God, a fifth one.
Frankie Williams.
God, I can't think of a fifth one. Right?
While you're thinking, let me bring something up here, Chad. While you're thinking of a fifth one, and not to knock your list, but Iron Mike Sharp. There was a point he challenged Pedro Morales. He challenged Bob Backlund. It was managed by Captain Lou Albano, and I'm just old enough to remember a little tiff between him and the Magnificent Morocco, who was Intercontinental Champion, and Lou Albano was in the neutral corner and agreed to manage the winner. Morocco won, defended his title, was heel versus heel. Mike Sharp became a jobber from that point forward.
And that's what I read.
That guy challenged for singles belts.
The Guru is stumped.
I'll go with another one that always seemed to get their ass kicked. Another tag team. What the hell is his name? Thunderfoot.
I said that.
Oh, fucker. Gosh, I'm kind of
good.
How about the Marcus brothers? Speaking of Mark, the Marcus brothers from the WWF in the '80s. Those guys, they got the shit kicked out of them by everybody. Valentine and Beefcake, Sheik and Volkov.
We've named enough. We've named enough.
Yeah,
all right. This is a big question, and damn it, it's at the end of Can Crushers. But this is from Marty from Pennsylvania. And
Marty Jannetty?
Not Marty Jannetty. If you're following his Facebook, good Lord. If you're not following his Facebook, make sure you friend him because, Marty Jannetty. Here comes a train wreck. All right. Now, nonetheless, this is not him. This is just regular Marty from Pennsylvania. He wants to know, how can any champion in the NWA say they're a champion right now? Do you think the NWA should vacate all titles if they return and have a combined super show with other companies? So he throws in like 3 questions. Take them one at a time and answer them because this is a big question.
So how can anybody in the NWA right now call themselves a champion? That's fair. I agree. Even though it hurts me to say that, Thunder Rosa, I think, is a great champion, and she beat a great champion. I hate to think of her as anything less than that. Same with Nick Aldis. I hate to think of him as not a champion. Mark, you and I have had this very discussion. Question number 2, vacate all titles. Mark, you said exactly that. I think that may be the right thing to do. As much as it hurts me. It really would hurt to see Nick Aldis surrender his belt and Thunder Rosa surrender her belt because I think they're both great champions. And was there a third part to this question?
No, that was it.
Okay, how do they call themselves champions?
Yeah.
How do they call themselves champions and should they surrender the belts? Yeah, I agree, man. How do they call themselves champions when they're not wrestling? And they probably ought to just reboot and start over. I agree.
It will hurt me. I agree with John. John didn't bring up Eli Drake and James Storm as the tag team champions or Zicky Dice. TV champion just coming back. If we have to reboot that, I'm all right with it. Tag team champions, if they start with the Crockett Cup and they just roll this in that hey, we've been off, and the tag, whoever wins this is going to be champs from here on out, that would be cool. I love Thunder Rosa because I've pushed her on you two so much that you guys now love her as well. That wouldn't hurt as much as Aldis is. Aldis is losing that really would hurt because he has been the flag bearer for the NWA from the Cody match, from, come on, you guys know wrestling history. It would hurt, but do I think it's needed at this time, yeah, throw him in a tournament. If he is the national treasure, he'll be able to win it back. I don't even care if it's a fixed tournament. I think it solidifies it more then.
Yeah, that's well said. Very quickly, taking nothing away from Thunder Rosa. This isn't about a men's world championship or a women's world championship. She's a more recent champion. Like Nick Aldis, as you say, has been the flag bearer for this promotion. They both hurt. They both would hurt if they were stripped of their belts. Aldis maybe just a little more for the reasons you said, Mark.
I agree. Is to me the one that's going to hurt, because I'm more of a tag team, is Storm and Eli Drake. Aldis is going to hurt because he's been the one that started bringing the NWA back. Now I'm going to throw the loop in this, that the NWA is not the only one that should restart, and this could be beneficial to both of them. Ring of Honor should do the same thing and have a mega card, because they.
Oh, that was the second. That was the last one. Should they have a super show?
Yeah.
They should. They could have. Okay, could they bring in could they get AEW guys to come in and help, and other guys? Yes, but if you're just talking strict big federations, Ring of Honor, MLW, NWA Supercard, and have tournaments for you don't have to have,
but not a
huge
Supercard that we've
tournament.
watched recently.
Yeah, just have many, have the Crockett Cup, and then say at the end, kayfabe it, so to speak, and say, okay, guys, special incentive, the new champions or the winner of the Crockett Cup is not only going to win $500,000, you're going to be the new NWA champions. Throw that in as a loop. All this, I have absolutely zero problem with him just storming the fuck right through everybody like a bulldozer and taking the title back.
Yep.
And I understand this is a shitty situation, this COVID for wrestling purposes. This has really sucked all around, but it's hurt them. It's hurt the credibility because they're not able to wrestle. And
all right, let's wrap that up. That segment alone is an hour and 15 minutes, so good Lord, prepare for who knows how much less coming, or more, coming in part trace. So we'll be back, touch on WWE in a whole, give you all our shit that we have to always give you, and of course, somebody's got a special announcement, and that's great.
Hey, this is Drew Hernandez, the Mayan Mauler, the hard-hearted Hispanic. And tune in. You're listening to the Can Crushers podcast.
And welcome back, Can Crusher Nation. It is I, the Guru, eating a donut, drinking some wine.
Speaking of which,
shut up!
You're just pillaging my kitchen now.
You're lucky I didn't take the starter. Shut. Mark is drinking his 800th Bud Apple Light. He's going to start sprouting leaves and stuff, and
bush.
John's looking at us like, what the fuck did I get into? By the way,
I'm drinking a Honduran espresso.
Yeah, by the way, we did this late what we're drinking, so if you're just catching up what we're drinking. I drank a shit ton of seltzers. I don't know if I don't remember if I mentioned that it was at a graduation party since 3 o'clock. So what goes on at graduation party? You drink alcohol. That's what you do in 2020. You graduate high school and drink alcohol.
2020, you're just lucky to be living right now.
I am lucky to be living. Shout out to Nick Galbo. His daughter graduated this year, and we love you, Bella. We really do. Nick listens to the show. Bella does not. Nonetheless. But it's time for WWE. Our segment on WWE NXT. I was busy Wednesday night, and I forgot to hit the record button on NXT. So I will sit back and listen to these guys talk about NXT. Then we'll cover WWE by myself, because you guys didn't watch Raw or SmackDown, I'm sure. But how long should I give you guys?
John's kind of the one to go on NXT. I just glanced through it. To be honest with you, I didn't.
All right, John,
stop
you got 3 minutes on NXT.
Okay. So NXT kicks off with the brand new NXT champion, and he has decided to give everyone the opportunity that he had. And so he surrenders the North American Championship. So he no longer... By the way, what the hell is his name?
Keith Lee.
Keith Lee, thank you. Yeah,
I posted that.
Yeah, way to screw the pooch on that one, John.
Yep, thanks. You guys are... You're into my time now. So Keith Lee surrenders the North American Championship, and I'm a little unclear about what they're doing here as far as a tournament is concerned, or who goes to a ladder match. I guess they're having like a series of matches to determine who goes to this multi-person ladder match for the North American Championship. So we see a triple threat match between Johnny Gargano, Roderick Strong, and Bronson Reed. Awesome match. Just really, really good. Everybody fought everybody. It was a lot of fun to see Gargano and Strong fight each other, team up together. They have similar styles, similar looks. In the end, Bronson Reed gets the win, while Strong and Gargano are both down. Reed hits basically a Superfly splash, I want to say, on Strong and gets the 3 count. Great match. Definitely a highlight of the show. Another highlight was Shotzi Blackheart against Aaliyah. It looked like more shenanigans as your favorite manager came out, Mark. The guy who runs that promotion organization.
Robert Stone. I didn't watch it, and it's Robert Stone. Okay.
Well, yeah, he comes out and interferes again, but Shotzi manages to get a win. The only thing I'll say here, Shotzi's very talented. We don't need to see everything all the time. Sometimes a little less is more. We've said this on the show plenty of times. I'd rather have 2 or 3 fewer moves and be told a better story. Nevertheless, very, very good match. And then a match I really enjoyed. The wrestling instructor, Thatcher, he wrestled a guy I really don't think I've ever seen before. I got his last name, Lorcan.
Oh, he's wrestled him a couple times, but okay.
Yeah, this was fantastic. Good chain wrestling, submission style wrestling. It ends with Lorcan having Thatcher in sort of a Kimura. So you're thinking, oh, crap, he's got the submission specialist and a submission hold, but his own shoulders were on the mat, and Thatcher gets the win that way. NXT was a really solid show, but when you compare it to AEW, they really brought it. You could see why they lost this one by about 250,000 viewers or whatever it was. Still a solid show. NXT, very, very good all the way around.
My big announcement this week is, guys, I'm excited about this. I'm pumped about this. If it's my own segment, thank God I get my own segment back. OVW comes back this coming Tuesday. It will be filmed in Indiana because Louisville is not safe yet. So they're moving to a auxiliary gym that they have in Indiana. They'll be able to shoot OVW there. They've transported everything there that I know about. So
like Vanguard 1 transported?
Yeah.
Or like,
all
okay,
of it.
cool. Holy shit.
So our OVW report will be coming back, so you guys can jump on board with the future stars of tomorrow. We'll touch on OVW. If it's just me, I don't care. It'll happen. But let's branch into WWE in general, and I really don't want to give more than a couple minutes. Is there anything? Raw was a recap of Extreme Rules. Rollins talks about popping his eye out and how he's sick. Ron Simmons does show up because at one point there was going to be a new Nation of Domination, but they've scrapped that. Now it's the Hurt Crew. Shelton Benjamin's now the 24/7 champion. Great. That's awesome.
That's still a thing?
Yeah.
They just won't let that die.
Yep. And in the unsanctioned match between the Big Show and Orton, everybody comes out, everybody fights, everybody leaves, and it wasn't. It could have just been a no DQ match. There was not unsanctioned. I always think that It should be blacked out. The organization doesn't recognize it. That unsanctioned rule is pretty powerful.
When you have a referee in there counting a 3 count, raising a guy's hand, the fucking match is sanctioned.
Right. And Orton wins with the punt. Smackdown, we find out that Sasha has a match on Monday against Asuka to figure out who the real Raw champion is going to be. And as much as I love Sasha, you guys know how much I love Sasha, this kind of ruins it. It's going back to Asuka. It really is. It sucks. It's another riff that Sasha and Bayley are going to have set up for, I don't know if it's going to be SummerSlam. SummerSlam is not going to be in Boston, which would have been where Sasha's from. How much longer, I'll ask you both this, my own Can Crusher question, how much longer can this run, though? I'd love it to run to WrestleMania and the payoff be there, but what twists and turns can they do anymore? Because if they both would have had a title, that would have been cool. Run with that until Royal Rumble, screw both of them over. Now they're only tag team champions. They lose that at Elimination Chamber, blah, 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 and then they have a payoff match or whatever. But Sasha's not getting this title Monday. I feel, as much as I want to say yes, where do we go now with this Sasha Bayley thing?
I think they're talented enough to keep it running until WrestleMania. Storylines, I mean, anything you just mentioned makes sense, which means they won't do that.
That's what I mean.
They're definitely they're definitely talented enough to run with the program for a long while. I don't think, even though they've already begun teasing problems between them, I don't think they've touched the tip of the iceberg of what these two women can do and how long they can run this story.
I don't think they do it until they get live fans back in the arenas.
And that's already being talked about at WrestleMania 39 and a half.
They've
already moved WrestleMania from Los Angeles to Orlando again.
Yeah, I think Vince is trying to hold this out, pulling the trigger on this one, so to speak, until they get live people back.
Miz TV has Naomi as a guest, and they kind of hit some hot buttons about the whole social media stuff that she's been posting against Lacey Evans, and the same opportunity. They hint about some of the stuff that Booker T brings up. Naomi gets heat on Miz about just pandering about her suckiness. Lacey comes out. There should be a pity hashtag. They fight a little bit. I don't know if this is the right path to take with either one of them at this point in life.
I think it's a perfect thing to do with Naomi because this is something that started outside of her, outside of WWE. This is fans starting something that they can kind of capitalize on and be like...
Wait. Did a real fan start Naomi Deserves More, or was it somebody that is in WWE that's a fan?
I mean, we don't obviously know for
They're
sure.
not going to start. A Can Crusher hates Naomi because
I'm just saying, given the current racial climate, this is a way for them to capitalize on Naomi's lack of a push in her career. She's held the title. She's been a placeholder at best. She's been a big pop at WrestleMania at best. I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to take advantage of it.
English Professor, your wife loves when she comes out to the ring glowing.
She does. She loved her new hairdo too, where it was kind of out to the sides, like the double poofy pigtails there for a little while. She loved that. My wife said she looks so cute. She loves Naomi. She'd like to see more of Naomi.
We find out that New Day is done for a minimum of 6 weeks. And, guys, this is actually exciting for me that Big E is going to get a push. Does he actually go after maybe AJ in the IC championship, or Who the hell's a champion on? Oh, Braun, but he's dead. So there should be a vacant WWE Championship on SmackDown.
He's going to go after AJ. I think that makes I think that makes the best sense, but we know Vince doesn't go with that. But I think bringing him out of the tag team, you want to put him with somebody that can have a good match with him. And if you're going to put him in a title hunt doing that, you got to go with AJ, because him and Braun would just be two big guys going at it. Braun is not somebody that you want to depend on to have a good match with. He can take. I mean, he's okay. Brock Lesnar can toss him around like a rag doll. He's somebody that can get the shit beat out of him, but getting the shit beat out of you doesn't necessarily mean a good match.
John's got nothing. AJ's number one contender for the IC Championship is Grand Metalik, because he won a match between Lucha House Party, Drew, and Shorty G. That's going to be enthralling. Chad, next week, Mandy and Otis update. I can't wait till you cover that I will give you 15 seconds. And the bar fight between Sheamus and Jeff Hardy. A lot of drinking goes on. And you see Willow, more or less, return with the TNA Impact eyes from Jeff Hardy. Great. Yep, that's what we all think about that. John, you got something big to bring to Can Crushers this week, and this actually is exciting.
Yeah, a couple of exciting things. First of all, you mentioned your old OVW report. If we're talking about bringing segments back, there was an awesome segment back in the day of this show called The Professor's Pontification. That was a great segment, I'm just saying.
There's no school right now.
I know. Very quickly, I just want to mention some sad news, and I could use some positive thoughts, guys. My beautiful Bobby Eaton figure lost its head.
This sucks.
And sometimes figures will lose a limb or a head, but they have like extensions on the neck or the arm or whatever, and you can just pop that sucker right back in and it's good to go. Bobby Eaton's neck is cracked all the way around, so there's really no putting the head back on.
Al Snow, you bastard.
I can rest him on there and pose him with Sweet Stan Lane. I got to go get some glue. I have to try Gorilla Glue or Crazy Glue or something, and I may be able to glue his neck back together, put his head back on, but I'm afraid beautiful Bobby's days of taking bumps in my house are over.
And let's talk about why you also will not probably purchase one, because that's pretty expensive.
That set, Eaton and Lane, is pretty expensive. Funny thing, I went looking on eBay. Someone is selling a headless Eaton. Probably the same thing happened to that one that happened to mine. But hopefully I could fix them up and get them put back together. The other thing I wanted to mention is, check this out, Mark and Chad.
Not that you viewers can see what he's showing us.
That's why I said Mark and Chad. But these are wrestling programs from back in 1980. This is what you got when you went to the matches. It was a magazine, and inside the magazine was an insert of that night's card. But not just like a piece of paper stuck in. There was a page of the program. It was $1. Every month was its own issue. So I have a few from February. It's the same issue throughout. The whole thing, everything's the same with the exception of this card that's inserted in there. I've got some from Boston, Philadelphia, Providence, Baltimore. I got about 7 or 8 of them. Once in a while, a story might be different if they're really trying to push a match. But otherwise, if you have one for the month, it's the same across the country, wherever they wrestle. Interesting thing, I have 2 from the same date, February 9th, 1980. So this is a 2-a-day. One of them taking place in Rhode Island and one of them taking place in Philadelphia. Those are quite a hike away from one another. No one appears on both cards. I imagine they were both night shows. I'm not sure. But 2 from February 9th, 1980. Let me see if I can find very quickly. Yeah, here it is right here. This is This is from April 12th, 1980. The reason that's significant is there was a title change. The Wild Samoans take on Tito Santana and Ivan Putski. The Samoans win the belts that night. A little guy named the Great Hossein Arab. We go on to know him as the Iron Sheik. He takes on Rene Goulet. And in the main event, the living legend Bruno Sammartino takes on the world's strongest man, Ken Patera. And then in another one, this is a big one. You have a rematch for the tag team titles. Tito Santana and Ivan Putski against the Samoans. No disqualification, no curfew. Bruno Sammartino versus his former pupil Larry Zbyszko. And then in the big one, the fabulous Hulk Hogan challenges world champion Bob Backlund. Mark, you saw highlights from Bob Backlund versus Hulk Hogan recently, didn't you? You got a snapshot sent to you.
I did. It was a hell of a picture. The fabulous Hulk Hogan was in the cross-faced chicken wing.
Yep. I was playing with my toys, guys, and I sent Mark pictures because I'm weird. That's what I do. One other quick thing I want to mention. Where did I get these programs? I got them off of a Facebook page. Mark, you belong to it too. WWF LJN Collectors Forum. I just want to give them a shout out. If you're on Facebook, you enjoy the toys from our youth, the WWF LJN figures, check these guys out. Guys, this site, it's the best page on Facebook, and I don't mean to overstate this, but it is utopia. It is world peace on Earth.
It really is.
Everybody is just so cool. Somebody was selling these programs. I commented, the guy's like, give me $40 for him. Somebody else was like, yeah, that's a great deal. He didn't try to jump in and say, I'll give you 50. He was like, no, dude, you need to jump on that.
Your wife didn't find out?
No. Little known fact, one of the guys on there, from Australia, actually, very, very knowledgeable about this toy line and about wrestling in general. He's writing a book. I don't want to give any names out, but he's writing a book about the LJN toys, and it's so good. The amount of information, the knowledge this guy has. He had me questioning when I got which figures for which Christmas. I got on there and I said something about getting Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov in 84, and he's like, you got him in 85. And I'm like, yeah, getting a little pissed off. Like, dude, you're in Australia. You don't know when I got Sheik and Volkov. Motherfucker was right. He's like, no, call your family. Find out. I called my brother Dom. I said, Dom, when were you dating that girl? When did I go see Santa at Macy's in New York City? When did I get Sheik and Volkov? He's like, no, that was 85. He was right. The reason I know about his book is he's sending me bits and pieces of it to proofread. So how lucky is this guy that he's all the way in Australia?
And he's got an English
professor, right? To proofread his stuff. It doesn't need a lot of fixing, though. It was pretty damn good before I ever laid eyes on it.
So it's better than anything I've written.
A little bit, yeah. A little better than what you've written. It's due for release, I think, this fall sometime, and I can't wait. I cannot wait. It's a good book, guys. It's chock full of great information.
Well, wait.
WWF LJN.
What's that? Chad's got something to bitch about, I'm sure. But we need to help this guy. We need to get him out to the masses. You need to work your magic, and when it's ready for publishing, he needs to come on Can Crushers and tell us all about it. This could be your first solo interview.
The thing with Australia, though, like, if it's Saturday here, it's like the following Wednesday over there or something, right?
That's why I said it sucks to be you, because you'll have to be up at, like, some god-awful time that you were never awake to talk to this mate over there.
Right. And one other thing, guys, it's an election year.
It was two things from this guy.
Yeah, I know. But this is still the same thing as far as the LJN page goes. WWF LJN Collectors Forum. It's so much fun. It's an election year. We have managed to politicize life and death, and I'm so proud of that as an American that we can take sides on things like life and death. Everybody's a freaking expert. Some days you just want to walk away from it all. This page is my happy place, and I think it can be your happy place too if you love wrestling and wrestling figures.
You know, I usually don't say this to John, but I'm going to say it. What the fuck? You got a guy in Australia, and you haven't asked him about the fucking Australian tag team rules.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell?
You would know, I would imagine.
Well, he's from Australia, and he's a wrestling fan. If he doesn't know...
Wrap it
If
back
he
around.
doesn't know, then it's bullshit. If he doesn't know, then Australian rules is bullshit.
Okay,
Right.
well, we need to... I think that should be John's assignment.
That better be your first question on your first solo interview with this guy.
Okay.
I
very good.
got just two off the wall things here in closing. Fleetwood Mac founder Peter Green died at 73 years old today. For those that are rock and roll Fleetwood Mac, awesome group, awesome songs of the era, still spilled over into the 80s and that. And on the wrestling side, long-time pro wrestling fan Regis Philbin passed away
Oh my God, I didn't see that.
I didn't
today.
hear that. Yeah.
Involved in WrestleManias, he had The Rock, the two that come out. He had The Rock and Austin and Hogan. Now that I think about it, passed away. What do you call it? Not normal sickness, natural causes. So there wasn't anything there. He's an older gentleman. He was 1 year away from, I think they said his 81st birthday or something. I can't find it.
So he was 80
here.
Is what you're saying? Because I'm 1 year away from my 44th birthday.
Well, shut up, jackass. But he was a huge wrestling fan. Was always promoting wrestling, was always joking around with them. I guess the fondest memory I have is when Stone Cold came on and Stone Cold had the original Winged Eagle title. And Philbin's like, that's a nice belt there. And Austin's like, yeah, I like it. I'm proud of it. And Regis kind of leaned over to him and said, I'm going to kick your ass for that belt. And
I remember, man, when I would take off school, I would really watch Regis and Kathy Lee. He was great. He really was. I loved that in the morning. Good job for preferences on that, asshole, for letting us know pre-show that you're going to bring this up, because Regis Philbin hurts a little bit. It hurts.
He had some wrestlers on his show. I remember the Headbangers appeared on his show one time.
That's who you bring up that was on his show, the Headbangers.
That's what
I bring up Hogan, Austin, and The Rock.
And you bring
John
up
brings up the Headbangers.
Guys, you can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, every place you can find podcasts. Head over to our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It's all CanCrusher69. Our website is getting ready to make a huge announcement, and wrestling that we're going to go to for the love of God, which I'm excited about. Guys, a lot's going to happen here in the near future with Can Crushers, and I guess we just want to say thanks, Jack Pollock. If you know about Jack Pollock, you'll know what's going on. If you don't know about Jack Pollock, I guess you're going to have to wait. But you guys can head over to Square Circle Comics as the comic book encyclopedia of wrestling is still available for pre-order. I got an email, if you haven't been following us on Facebook, why, that the comic book encyclopedia of pro wrestling will be shipped here in the near future. And they've given me a date, but I don't want to say that just in case, but I want to say within the next 2 weeks. And again, if you don't know about the comic book wrestling encyclopedias, I will gloat and say we are the only wrestling podcast. Oh, no. We are the only podcast involved in this comic book encyclopedia. We are their, John, what did they say? Our ring announcers from here on out?
That's my understanding.
And we are also involved in Square Circle Comics from here on out as well. once we get the word of what comics are coming out, I already know, I just can't let you know. Which ones are coming out, when they're coming out, we'll let you know. We'll have the guys back on for a little spot to tell about some of the great ones they're doing. Guys, I'm excited for some of these ones. I really am. We're going to go down under, and we'll just leave it at that. So, you can also send us an email at cancrusher69@gmail.com. We're going to put Ask Can Crushers on the shelf for probably another month. I like doing this monthly. I really do, because you guys, once I think that we can't get questions, Can Crusher Nation just brings shit to the table again that I see the questions and I still don't answer them when I get them, so you guys are always on my ass about, we don't know anything. But it's fun that way. You guys know that. And how fun are these to sit down and just rack your brain a little bit?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It makes for a natural conversation, even if there's some dead air while our wheels are spinning. And it shows what each of us brings to the table and what we know and how we can pull stuff out of the air. We know a thing or two here, guys. To quote Arn Anderson, not to toot my own horn, but toot, toot. We know a few things, and this is fun. And honestly, guys, we're flattered all of you even give a shit to know what we think. That's pretty awesome.
I can't, I was brought on
a year ago.
The only thing that's young about me,
no shit.
I was brought on a year ago as a sub, as a guest, and kind of weaseled my way and negotiated my way with my lawyer Dewey Cheatham and Howe.
You're eating my goddamn donuts now.
I'm being fed. I'm drinking. Mark's dog likes me more than him.
That's not a lie.
But this is a lot of fun for the fans out there. Even guys like Argos that chime in. We got to talk to the cretins of our fans, but even those guys. This is a lot of fun. I think it's disrespectful what Mark says at times about Al Snow's age. We're taught to respect our elders, especially when they're
He's 104. He's our elder, all right.
Especially when they're twice our age. But, we love all of you. We appreciate what you do. Without you guys, without, everybody that listens in, that sends questions, that gives us ideas.
That gives us shit.
That gives us everything, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's well said. All right. He did it good last week. Can he do it again?
Yeah. We ready?
Well, that's the softball.
That right there shows I wasn't ready. Yeah.
That was the softball tossed up to you, waiting for him.
That was a yellow softball. Slow pitch.
Remember, Chad, just because you're trash, it doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
See you Wednesday with a Spazmanian interview.